How's it going, everybody? It is 9:20 a.m. and today is Friday. I got an offer from UberEats to go to Lunchbox. I'm going to be getting, I think it's $11 and change for 3 point something miles. Let me double check on that. No, it's $9 and change for 3 miles. Let's get on over to Lunchbox. So when I left off on my last video, I was talking about how I was able to become financially successful in my late 50s, where I don't really have to work if I don't want to. And the last thing I remember talking about was I was finally able to purchase a home because I had a 401k that I was putting money into at a job when I was in my, I think I was in my mid-20s at the time, at a job I had been with for about, I think it was about 3 years I was with that particular company. And this was occurring, I think this was around the time when Yahoo was a big deal. Google really was not popular at all yet, so this was like somewhere around the mid 90s. The mid 1990s, Yahoo was actually the top search engine, and then there was also these there was this thing called GeoCities and Netscape. Those were real popular at the time, and I was actually just putting about 20% of my paycheck in, not even thinking about it. And then of course all the years later, when it got to around the year 2000 or 2001 is when I was interested in getting a house. It was many years later, and I had forgotten about the 401k. It had been so long. And I think what I ended up doing is just contacting the oh wait, we're already here at Munchbox. I've got to go in. I'll continue the story in a second. Right here. No waiting on the order. Oh, it's windy today. Alright, drop this off. 7 minutes, 2.5 miles. It's gonna be going to a house, and oh, it's a meet at the door. Wait a minute, where's my charger? Alright. Let's get rolling. Which way do you want me to go? Okay. No problems inside of Munchbox. Everything went just fine. There was, the bag was just sitting there. I told the employee who I was there to pick up for, and they just said, here it is, and I just left. There was no need to confirm the order at Munchbox, so everything went just fine. And so anyway, I didn't realize that I had this 401k. I had completely forgotten about it, and it was only when I finally was looking for a house to buy was when I remembered. I'm like, oh, I have that 401k from that previous job. So I had to look it up in my files, look up the paperwork, and then I called the number, and then this particular company, or the particular timing for this for wanting to get the money was really dependent on what was going on, of course, in the stock market. And so I had no idea anything about what that meant. I really didn't know at the time, like was I timing it right to take this money out of my 401k. All I knew is I needed money to make that down payment, and how was I going to get the $10,000 I needed for the down payment. And when I recall that at the time that I got this money out of the market, it was at the exact time that the bubble had bursted for the dot-com bubble. So around 2000, 2001 was the time period where the stock market crashed. And I don't know. For all I know, I got the money out at the right time before it hit the bottom, or I did get it at the bottom and I timed it all wrong. So I don't know. I have no idea because I never even kept track of what the balance was on it. So I never knew how high it was at during the dot-com bubble when everything was like, super expensive. And, like that company, pets.com, was worth like all this money, and it was a totally worthless company. It was just a website name. So yeah, but at any rate, I was able to get the money I needed from that 401k to make the down payment on this house, and the house was going to cost like $230,000, which everybody was telling me was way too expensive for the area I was going to be getting. And they told me I really should consider looking at other areas, but I was just thinking about, it was going to be a brand new house, and I was like all excited about it. So I didn't listen to them. And you never know. See, this is the problem with anything financial. You just don't know. Like when you just interview for a job, you don't know where that job's going to lead you to. You really just have no clue what's about to occur. It's all a mystery. So that's where I was at. I was completely at a point where I had no idea whether or not I was making the right decision. Time would have to tell, just like most things in life. Time always reveals the truth. So anyway, this was the first time I had ever purchased a house before. Had no idea what I was getting involved in. Knew nothing about anything. So the first thing that I realized when I purchased the house was that I had to get furniture. So immediately after moving in, I realized, well, I have to now spend more money to get furniture. So I was just like, I was buying bedroom sets and sofas and tables, and then just putting them on my credit card and opening up new credit card accounts where it would be no interest for the first year. And having a good time. Of course, it was fun, but it also became this, it was completely different from renting an apartment, because now there were all these things that I was responsible for, and I was racking up debt just continuously purchasing all these different things to make the house look nice. And I was thinking, what have I gotten myself into? And is this all really going to work out? But at the same time, I was like, I'm enjoying myself, so it is fun. So that process from moving in, it was about a year before everything was finally settled, and I finally got everything, and I was just making payments. And then I started learning about interest rates, and whether or not I had a good interest rate. And I think the interest rate I had at that time was like 7.75 or something like that. So it was high. Anyway, we're coming up at the drop off. I gotta focus. Is it this one? No. Is it this one? Yup. It's this one. Alright, lunchbox, let's go. welcome.
Oh, you're right here?
Yeah, I'm right here. There you go. Take care.
Okay,
Thank you.
bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. Took a picture of the front door. Handed to customer. Done. Complete delivery. The menu system's a little bit different today. Usually when it says meet at door, you just hit confirm delivery. But the app was telling me to take a picture after I met the customer at the door. Once I walked away from the customer, I just took a picture of the front of the house and then just put that handed to customer. $3.61 for I don't know how many miles, it doesn't matter. And so, where was I? Let's see. So, $12, 2.7 miles. That's good. Accept this one. Shopping for 8 items. Accept. I don't know where I'm going though. Bonds, okay. Next one coming up is going to be from Uber Eats. We're going to go to Vons and shop for 8 items. I think I'm going to get $12 for a really low number of miles. Let me see. You can see it on the screen, but let me just quickly look to tell you how many miles. 2.7 miles. Whew, I guess it's going to be a busy day today. Let me pause DoorDash. So there was a lot of stress and a lot of question marks. I didn't know what the heck I was doing, but I was enjoying myself. It was fun to spend the money. It was fun to finally have my own place, and you know, you can do whatever you want with it. So that was a good time. Well, we're here at Vons. I'm gonna park it and I'll continue my story, I guess, once I get on the road or sometime. Oh, and the backyard wasn't landscaped for this house. So I also had to spend all this money, not just on furniture, but also on landscaping for the backyard. It was a lot of work. It was like every time I got off of work, I would be working on the house. It was a long process. All right, parking, and we'll go in and shop. Change the packaging on that one. Here's another item where they changed the packaging. It's hard to find stuff when they change the look of the packaging. Oh no, did I pull that out? Whoops. Alright, so I am back in the car and I did not complete the order. There was a problem with the QR code and I've been inside of Vons for probably about 20 minutes trying to get it resolved. Could not resolve it. So now I'm trying to get unassigned from the order. So basically I lost probably about, I don't know, 45 minutes of my life that I'll never get back. Okay, I've been unassigned officially, so that's gone. Now it is, I guess I'll just start heading back home. Okay, thank you. Have a good day. Goodbye. End chat. Chat ended. Have we resolved your issue? Yes. And he's still talking to me. It's like, I said goodbye to you. There's nothing else for you to say. Stop sending me messages. Shop at Vons for somebody else. 8 items. I'm not doing any more shopping at Vons. Uber. There's something wrong with your app. That the code's not working. Even when I scan the code on the side of Uber Eats, they're not seeing that I'm attempting to scan the smart code. So because of that, they can't even verify that I am attempting to check out and pay for the order using the smart code. And so because of that, they can't proceed to the next step. From their perspective, I'm not trying to pay for it with the smart code. And when I tried to use my, of course, the card, the physical card for Uber Eats, it gets declined, and they said you can't do that, you have to use the smart code. So I'm stuck like in this loop where I can't get out of the situation I'm in. So I'm not gonna let myself get frustrated about this, because this is supposed to be a fun job, just something to go do. And now I can't. I'm gonna just stay away from doing any shopping today, and maybe tomorrow it'll get resolved. All I'm gonna do right now is well, I guess if I get a shopping order from another store, maybe I'll do it. But right now, I think there's something wrong with their system. So there's no reason that I'm going to put myself under any kind of unnecessary stress again for today. So any shopping orders that come in, whatever amounts they are, I'm going to decline them if it says that I have to use that stupid smart code. $9, 18 miles, no. So back to the story. $5, 3 miles. No, back to the story. I had a good time getting the first house, but I was going deeper and deeper into debt. And then, of course, they immediately start telling me, like a year after I got the house, they're like, sign up for a home equity line of credit. And I had no idea what that was. I'm like, what's a home equity line of credit? And then, they give you kind of a gist, like use the equity in your home to buy, because I guess at this particular time, the value of homes were skyrocketing. So like I had paid what, $230 for the house, and just the following year it went from $230 to $300, the value of it. So it shot up like by 70 grand right away. And so they were already offering me home equity lines of credit, and then it got to over 300 in the value, and then I was like, wow, should I take out a home equity line of credit? And I believe I did. I took out a home equity line of credit, and I had no idea like that the home equity line of credit had this huge annual fee on it. So that became real stressful. So I paid that off. No, actually, no, I didn't pay it off. So it started to grow. And at that particular point, I was like, I was just like, well, I guess this is just the lifestyle that you have to get used to when you have a house. And so not only did I buy stuff for the house, but I bought myself a new car just to make matters worse. So the debt that I was getting myself into was getting worse and worse. And the house itself, the value of it, I think it went all the way up to like 350 or 375 about 2 years after I got it. And then I decided that I wanted to sell the house because I didn't like how small the backyard was. So I had I had found a house even further away from my job, that had a huge backyard. It was like a half an acre, and it was like $450,000 for that one. So I went ahead and I sold that place and sunk myself even deeper in debt. But I did wipe away the first and second mortgage of that house, and then got a mortgage on for the second property. And I think for that one I just had a single mortgage, and it was, I don't remember the amount it was, but it was really high. But I was like, okay, whatever. And I thought in my mind it was like I was consolidating the debt. And so at this particular house, and I was still working for the same job. My job was very stable, and so at this particular time that they passed a law uh, where you could do this new thing called a Roth IRA, and I was like, they were saying people should definitely start building their wealth in a Roth IRA because there's no taxes on the profits. Like, so whatever money you put in, you can take it out after 5 years if you need it. But any profits that are in there, you don't have to ever pay taxes on. So everybody saying this is a great deal. So I started putting money into a Roth IRA, and this was actually the first time I was actually self-managing a retirement account on my own. And I didn't know, I put money into it, and then I was like, well, how do I do this? I was completely lost, and I was trying to figure out on my own, and I was like, wow, I was like, what are all these letters? And I was like, are these stocks? And so I think this is what happens to most people if they know nothing about the stock market. So I was like buying random stocks and then selling the stocks because I was like, oh, I made a mistake. I don't want that. And I keep switching and buying different things and just make it a complete mess. And then I realized, oh, I don't know what I'm doing with this Roth IRA business. So I need to just leave it alone. And I think when I finally left it alone, I was invested just in these random individual stocks, and the majority of these investments, they all went to zero. They all went bankrupt. So that was a once again another learning experience. So you can see at this particular point in time, I was not successful at all. The only thing I was successful with was that I had a steady job and I was putting 20% of my income into my 401k. So that was really the only thing smart I was doing at the moment. All right, I'm almost back home. I'll continue the story in a little bit. Back on the road again. I've got an offer from DoorDash to go to Sprouts and shop for 2 items, 6 units, and then also go to Starbucks after that. I'm going to get $13.25 for 2.3 miles. First stop's going to be Sprouts. This is going to be the last one, because of that whole Vaughn situation. It really just ate up all of my time, and it looks like I'm only going to make just like a little over $20 or something like that. 9 plus 13, $22 and change is going to be the final result of my day's labor. So we'll see what happens with that. And what was I telling you guys? I sold my house in the first one. I had spent all this money on new furniture, and I painted the house. I did landscaping on the first house. I had a high interest rate. Let's see, they just sent me a message. Hi, I'm at building number this, just to let you know. Okay, so the customer just sent me a message trying to let me know what building number they were at. And I was going deep into debt. The only thing going right with financially is that I had a steady job, and I had, of course, put 20% of my income into my 401k. And so at the new house, which was like that half an acre, and it was all single story, and everything was nice, it was a very far commute. I was very far from where I worked. So, and I didn't even take that into account. All I thought about was, oh good, now I don't have a small yard. And boy, was that a mistake. All right, we're here at Sprouts. Let's start the shopping. Let me park and we'll head on in. card, the receipt. Head over to Starbucks next. I had nothing but problems inside of Sprouts, unfortunately. It was the same. It was a very it wasn't the same problem I had at Vaughn's. It was a problem with the internet connection or the app. I'm not sure which. The customer wanted half Brussels sprouts. They didn't have them, so I suggested a substitute, which was the full size, the whole Brussels sprout in the package. And when I tried to send them the message and a photo of the substitute, it wouldn't go through. So I put my phone into airplane mode and then took it out of airplane mode, trying to get reconnected to the phone service, and it still would not send the picture. So I sent them a completely separate text message saying, they don't have your half Brussels sprouts or whole Brussels sprouts okay to get. And I guess while I was sending them that information, the picture must have finally went through, because she said, yes, that's fine. And then it originally, she wanted 3 packages of the Brussels sprouts, but when I scanned the substitute, it said to only get 2. So I went ahead and did that. So we're at Starbucks now. I just got to park somewhere. Let me see. I think I can park here. Oh no, this person parked bad. I can't park there. They parked where their tire was sticking out. Oh man. Alright, we are at Starbucks. Let's go get it. Okay, done. No waiting on the order, it was just sitting there. Confirm pickup. We are going to be going 0.8 miles. We're going to be going to an apartment. It's a leave at the door. The apartment complex is on. Okay. Let me put this in here just to keep it from tipping over. Alright, the apartment is... why does it say another street? Oh, I know where this apartment complex is. Okay. I got it. The apartment is on one particular street, but there's an entrance on another street where you don't have to enter a code. And that's the one they want me to go to. Oh, man. So I got stressed out a little bit when I was at the Sprouts trying to communicate with the customer to get approval on those Brussels sprouts. And it's only because of the previous one that I was bothered. You know, the frustration from the Vaughn's one was carrying over from to the Sprouts order. So let me see if I can get back to my story. So back to the story when I was now at the second house, and I was heavily in debt. I had a super long commute. The commute was so long that I actually stopped driving to where I was working, and I was taking a train. And I would leave my house at a little bit before 6 in the morning and go on a 2-hour commute to get to work by train. And I would take the train would arrive at the station, I would transfer to a subway, because this was in downtown LA, and then I would have to walk from the subway station for about probably for about 7 minutes, not 10 minutes, 7 minutes to my place of work. So it was it was and I had to do that for the next 2 years while I lived there. And this was around the time when everybody just had the analog cell phones, and there was no iPhones invented yet. So we were still talking about the early 2000s, and I was not happy with where I was with the decision I had made. But this is the other problem when it comes to buying houses, is that you're never 100% sure if the decision you're making is right. You just know where you're at. You're not happy. So that's what was happening, is that I was now in another place where I was unhappy for other reasons that I did not predict were going to be um, pain points. They were going to be difficult for me. And then financially speaking, I now had an even larger debt than I had before. I must have had like a $200,000 debt, or a little bit more than that maybe, at the first place. Then at the second place, I had over $300,000 debt with this particular home. And I did refinance it, and I got the interest rate down to, I want to say I got it down to probably about, maybe 5% or something like that. So it was a lower interest rate, but there was more debt that I owed, so the payment was still high, unfortunately. All right, we're pulling into the apartment complex. I've got to find the right building number. I'm hoping they mark their building right on the app. I'm just gonna follow what the navigation is telling me where their building is and see if it's right. I think in her text message she said her building number was 6, if I'm not mistaken. I'm just going to trust that my memory is correct, because the last time I looked at the message, it was probably when I barely arrived at Sprouts. So hopefully my memory is correct. I think the lower numbers are over this way, so that's good. Let's see. What's this one? This one's A, building A. This one is building 7, so I'm close. All right. And I think it's one of these. Oh, yes, this one right here. Excellent. All right, we made it. Let's drop this stuff off. Which one am I dropping off first? I'll just put everything in front of the door and figure it out. Starbucks, the Sprouts order. Okay, we're in business. That's all done. Whew. All right, well, I'm fairly close to home, so I think I'm just going to stop my story from where we're at, and I'll pick it up again in the next video. And just got to remember where I left off about the long commute and totally being in serious debt, and yet somehow here I am today, financially successful. And we're gonna get there. We're gonna get to the point where I finally am able to tell you how I was able to become successful. But I just want to show you, I'm trying to tell this story so you can really understand just how it wasn't a straight line, how there were a lot of moments where anything could have gone wrong. So thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I'll see you again on the next one. Bye for now.